students. Today we're going to talk about past tense verbs. Remember, past tense verbs are verbs that tell us about something that has happened in the past, something that has already happened, okay? It's not happening now. It's not something that's going to happen in the future. It's something that has happened in the past. It's already happened. It's done, and it's over, and it's finished, okay? Now, most of the time, when you take a verb and you change it to past tense, you typically add ed to the end of your verb to make it past tense. Walked, talked, laughed, jumped, okay? But ed makes three sounds. There are three sounds that this suffix can make when you are changing a verb to a past tense, okay? The more that you talk and read, you will learn which ones go in with the verb, but it's important to know that not all verbs with ed make the same sound. There are actually three sounds that the ed suffix can make. So we're going to review. We're going to look at these right here on our charts. This is our special sounds chart. Chart number 9, and here we have the ed in wanted, the t in looked, and the d in played. All three of these special sounds, you spell them ed, 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 but they make different sounds. So when you're taking that verb in your sentence and you're changing it to past tense, you will typically add an ed, but when you do, you'll need to know, what sound does this ed make? Is it ed, is it t, or is it d? Okay, so we're going to look at an example of each and go over these all together, these three sounds together. So the ed in want ed makes a short e and a d sound, okay? We have short vowel sounds, a, e, I, and we have long vowel sounds, a, e, I, o, u. And in this special sound, the e makes a short sound, and then the d just makes its own sound, ed in wanted. Okay? At the store, my brother pointed to the toy. So this one is the short e sound. It sounds like a short e and a d sound. Now a little trick with this special sound is this one usually comes at the end of a word with a t or a d, okay? So if your word has a d at the end, like hand, I handed my teacher the papers, or land, the plane landed smoothly. Okay, so if it ends with a T or a D, point, okay, then it usually makes the ed sound. Hand ends with a D, hand, ed. Land ends with a D, landed. Okay, point ends with a T, point, ed. Lift ends with a T, lift, ed. So this is a rule, a little rule that you can remember to help you to know, does this say ed? Well, if it ends with a T or a D, it usually makes the ed special sound in wanted, the ed sound. Okay? Now our next one is t and looked. Now this one, you spell them all the same. They are all ed, which makes it a little bit tricky, but this one makes the T sound. It says t, 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 okay? Just a T sound, not an E, not a D, but a T, okay? We talked with a T sound. We talked about our plans for the weekend, okay? So this is something that we've already done. It's in the past. We've already talked about it. It's over. It's finished. It's already happened. We talked. But with this special sound, it makes the T sound. It doesn't make the ED sound. We do not say talked. No, that's not correct. It's talked. Talked. So not all verbs that end with ed make this sound. Okay, there are two other options. So this one is the T sound, the T in looked, right? And for our last sound, this sound is the D in played. Now with this one, the E doesn't make a sound. The E is silent. You don't hear it. You only hear the D, D, D in played. But the E is still there. You still spell all of these ED, 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 but this one makes just the D sound, okay? We cared, D sound, for the baby bird that fell out of the nest, okay? So we cared for the baby bird that fell out of the nest. This ED makes the D, D, D sound in played, played, okay? So the D is just the D sound. The E doesn't make a sound. You only hear the D, D, D in played. We cared, the E is silent, for the baby bird that fell out of the nest. All right, so it is important when you are reading or speaking to know ED makes three sounds. Which sound do I need to say? Or which sound do I need to read? Okay? Is it ed? Is it t? Or is it d? Okay? So when we're changing a verb to a past tense verb, we usually add the ed to the end of it. But not all verbs with the ed make the same sound. This one is the most common, but it's not always the sound that is made. Ed, t, and d. Okay, and the trick for ed is if the word ends with a t or a d, then it usually is ed, ed, ed. Okay, otherwise it might be t or d. All right, so here are some examples of these three sounds. They are all spelled the same, but they sound different, and you would pronounce them differently when you're using them with past tense verbs, okay? So remember, past tense verbs are verbs that have happened in the past. They're over, they're done with, they're finished, all right? Very good, students. That'll be all for today. Bye.